200 years ago, Miami Beach had no paved streets or hotels. The only access was by boat. Joe Weiss, a Hungarian immigrant suffering from asthma, took the ferry to the island.
And when he got to the beach, he was fine. And it was like the asthma disappeared. He decided that's where he would stay. And so we went to Smith's Casino, which was the bathhouse that serviced the people that lived in Miami, because at that point nobody lived on the beach. He decided that he would open up this little stand selling fish and chips inside the bathhouse, and that's how Joe started.
In 1913, the 2.5-mile-long Collins Bridge linking the island to the mainland was finally finished. With its opening came the crowds. Joe and his wife Jenny set up a tiny seafood restaurant in the front of their house. With the increased flow of visitors, the Weiss's restaurant was a success. Joe's would have been just another fish restaurant by the ocean had it not been for the opening in 1921 of the Miami Beach Aquarium, just a few blocks away. A Harvard scientist doing research there asked Joe if there might be a way to cook the plentiful local crabs that would reduce the iodine in their bodies, making them taste better. Joe came up with the method of boiling and then chilling the crabs on ice. They tasted so good they were put on the menu. Joe's quickly became synonymous with stone crabs. In the 1930s, Joe's became known not only for its food, but also as the place to be and be seen. Politicians, movie stars, and headliners were among the nightly guests. Chicago mob boss Al Capone was a regular, as well as FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover.
We were sitting at a table one day, and there was a guy by the name of Lefty Horn or something. The reason we called him Lefty, one of his arms was bad. J. Edgar was sitting at the table, Walter Winchell, myself, and Jesse Weiss. He came up to the table. Does anybody need a watch? And J. Edgar Hoover says, yes, I could use a watch. So he shows him the watch. He says to, the guy said to J. Edgar, what do you give me for it? J. Edgar Hoover says, what do you want for it? He said, what do you give me? So J. Edgar Hoover said, I'll give you $100 for it. He says, $100? He says, the reward is more than that.
Winchell and Mr. Hoover were always playing tricks on each other. Walter, dressed up in this uniform, took a tray of dishes and dropped it right behind Mr. Hoover, who flew a country mile. But the guns were not drawn, but it was just short of that.
Joe's has a strong sense of family, including staff. Some have worked there 30 or 40 years. Jesse Weiss, Joe's son, who took over when his father died in 1930, was known for backing up the restaurant's workers. Miami Beach had segregation laws forbidding workers from staying overnight on the island.
When I started here, I think the curfew was at 11 o'clock. And if you was on the beach after 11 and you was caught walking down the street like going to try to catch a bus, a lot of the cops would pick you up and lock you up just for vagrancy. Mr. Wise used to get everybody in the car and take us to Biscayne Boulevard and let us out, and he would come back to the beach. I remember one time I was walking up to catch the K bus. Police pulled up to the bus bench and said, where that pocketbook at? I said, what pocketbook? He said, you stashed that later? I said, mister, I never stashed no pocketbook. He said, yeah, you going to jail? I said, I haven't done nothing. By that time, another cop came by and said, we got him. And they had the guy who actually stashed the pocketbook down the street further. Now the bus done gone. Now I got no way to go home. So all I think, nobody come back down here. With my luck, Mr. Wild was smoking a cigar, eye on the back of it. And he asked me what was I done. I told him what had happened. So he called somebody, and they come down in a police car, and he had them take me to the Grove. He did. He said, take him home.
I was 13, and I started working full-time shift. That was at night, and I've been working ever since, with a 10-year sabbatical to raise my kids. It's in my blood. I love it. The whole place, it's my family. It's my security blanket. It's a new movie every day in the actions of the customers and the people that work there. It's Joe's. It is a wonderful place.